Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. I am Amanda Cromhope from Truth Loyalty and the Blind Loyalty Trust. We interview world leaders in loyalty blindly. The challenge is about creating loyalty insight spontaneously and about a lot of fun. Simultaneously, it is about raising the awareness of the Blind Loyalty Trust, and 100% of the proceeds from my book, Blind Loyalty 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified, go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. Okay, for the Blind Loyalty Challenge, we welcome Nick Watson, and Nick Watson is the VP for Business Consulting at Marigold. He has been tagged by Leanne from Chili Pepper, and we have the honor of working together. The three of us are working together in Dublin in November to bring you the truth in loyalty and the truth about customer for the Truth Diploma in Loyalty Masterclass. So Nick, thank you. It's great to see you ahead of that.
Thanks, Amanda. It's great to be tagged in by Leanne. It's great to be here with Loyalty Royalty as you are as well. So excited to be participating today. You've had some great people already, so yeah, I'm honoured to be part of it.
Yeah, our guests are the Loyalty Royalty, that's for sure, not me. So great, and thank you. And just so everyone knows, the kind of conversations that take place before we press record are, I haven't done any preparation for this, and goodness, and I'm like, no preparation required whatsoever. So that's the beauty of it. So your first question was actually set by Louisa Evans, who runs the loyalty program for Hornby Hobbies. And Louisa was amazing in her last question that she left. Because I've never heard this before. So here you go, this setting you up for this. But she talked about generational loyalty, i.e., passing down the loyalty to a brand through generations, which goes way beyond a loyalty program. So what she said, because her brand really works with generational, intergenerational loyalty. So the question is, how relevant is that? And how do we as providers to the industry or brands in the industry respond to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say that that probably applies to particular brands. Hornby, you can totally understand.
Yeah,
Immediately, Lego spring to mind as well
yeah.
as that type of brand too. But there are a lot of retailers who've been around a long time, and there's been a lot of love for them through the generations. So I guess the question is, how can loyalty support that? And I guess that point is about being able to represent who the brand are, and therefore being able to talk to all parts of your customer base. So all of the people who want to be loyal to you, whether they're someone who's been a customer for 40, 50, 60 years, for example, but also then offering some sort of potential loyalty offering to somebody who's maybe just starting with a brand. Now,
Mm.
what would be lovely with a brand, and I think Lego and Hornby, I'm sure, have this, is that, you know, a parent gifts something to their child and they
Yeah,
play together in a way that crosses the generations and the ages. But and that works perfectly there for sure through the product as much as any loyalty program that you put into place. But if maybe you're a retailer, then it's
yeah,
about that connection with, okay, well, the love for this brand because they deliver a service. So then it taps into that kind of emotional side of things, I suppose, and somebody talking about a brand in a positive way that then inspires somebody to also, in their family, for example, to want to shop there too. But you can't
yeah,
get past the fact that that brand still has to be relevant for the young person as much as it does to the person who's always loved that brand. You've got some classics, haven't you? John Lewis have been around, and
yeah,
they're continually evolving themselves and doing a really good job here in the UK. You've got others like maybe some airlines who've been around a long time, and that sort of stuff passes through. Obviously, there are some loyalty constructs that you can do to support that in terms of family, like group loyalty programs put
yeah,
together. And so that is a possibility to reward people as a family membership, or offer some sort of reward for someone to invite a family member in. I think mobile networks can do that pretty well too. Banks can do that pretty well
yeah,
with accounts for children. So I think it's partly the product and service, and then it's the offering, and then of course how you incentivize someone to change their behavior to maybe bring in the next generation
yeah.
to become loyal to that particular brand or service.
Amazing. I think your answer encompasses how I feel about it in terms of it's obviously there could be mechanics in the loyalty program, but it really is around the real breadth of the brand loyalty way beyond a loyalty program. And I thought it was a stunning question, obviously, from Hornby Hobbies. And as you say, like brands like Lego and so on. Great, thanks, Nick. So now back to Blind Loyalty, the book. So chapter 56 is about the BRD, the business requirements document. I don't think I've asked anyone a question on this yet. So I've had the privilege of working with your team on a
Mhm.
client project. So this was a deep part of what we had to do together. So my question to you is, what is the best process for a client and you or a consultancy firm like Truth to work together to get a BRD ready? Because it's such a major milestone in the process.
Yeah, so like anything, any project that you're undertaking, whether you're launching a new loyalty program, whether you're redefining and updating a program, or whether it's something completely different, you're going through a transformation project to bring in other technology, whatever, it's always about starting with the end point, as in what do you want to achieve? You need to
Yeah,
understand what it is that is the outcome you're looking for. What KPIs do you want to measure? What results do you want to achieve? What are those big kind of tentpole outcomes that you need? And you want to look at it from the business perspective, of course, like what is it? And it will relate to any business, it will relate in some way to revenue, of course it will. But what is it that you want to achieve? But then you also then need to look at, okay, well, now we understand our customer base. What is it in it from a loyalty perspective for the consumer or the customer as well?
yeah,
Because ultimately those two things go hand in hand. Great that you can say, I want more revenue from my customer base, but you also have to think about, well, what's in it for them and what will they achieve too? So you need to get those big pillar kind of KPIs, that framework set up, goals and outcomes that you're looking for. And then you start to sit underneath it that you can then start to work out more of the kind of the tactical elements to how might we go about achieving that. So from a program design perspective, obviously from a loyalty perspective, that's looking at the different tools that you have at your disposal. And that is both the program design, but it's also the technology, it's also the kind of communication channels that you've got
yeah,
at hand as well. And then obviously it's taking into account the data that you've got and the analysis of that data as well to then help you understand, well, what have we seen in the past? And therefore, what can we now think about doing for a future program that we want? And you factor in all those parts. So you have to have your guiding light of where you want to be. But then after that, you need to take all the data points of various elements,
yeah.
technology, program design, and also the data that you have at hand to then start to build out those requirements. And then from there, you can start to prioritize those requirements. You can start to build in, obviously, everybody says they want everything in a program right at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's like, okay, well, no, this isn't going to give us a good quality program. It's going to be too confusing. So then you can start to work back from a proposition perspective and also technically, like, how are you going to launch this? How long is it going to take? Because, everything's got a cost associated with it. So sometimes you need to get to a path to value more quickly in order to satisfy your CFO in terms of the business case for
Yeah.
delivering this. So then looking at, okay, well, how do we stage this? How do we prioritize this? And where will this program go in the future? I think becomes important as well.
Thank you. Wow, super thorough. And one of the interesting things, because we get, like you, get to work across different brands, and we've worked on a couple of projects. One, which was with yourselves, where it was very meticulously thought through and a very thorough set of questions and back and forth to get it right. And it took a period of time. Once that was through the sign-off process, the Marigold team just executed flawlessly, quickly. It was
Yep.
super, but it took a long time to get the BRD or SSD
Yep.
ready. We've
Yep.
also worked on other projects where it's been done so quickly, like within a couple of days, like literally intense number of folks around the table, and then it's possibly less seamless thereafter. So there's pros and cons on both approaches, and that's what it just depends on, as you say, the KPIs, the clients, your processes, and so on.
It does. And also there's a massive difference in where, for example, our clients, what stage they're at when they come to us. Like
Yeah,
how formulated is their thinking? Some come with a very clear idea of what they want to do, a good buy-in from the business, and therefore the decisions are way more practical to then work through what do we need to do to get there? How
yeah,
can we get there? How long is it going to take? But then other times, as you say, it's a little bit more open and actually it's impossible to define. And actually people, and I guess it's a personality thing, whoever's leading the project, they want to feel their way towards that. But that can be good in some ways, because that bit of flex can allow you to be a little bit more agile in the way that you approach things, because there are changes always along with either the business or new products or services that you've got to include in your proposition. And so having some agility in there can be a good thing as well.
Yeah, of course, of course. Thanks, Nick. Well, you've mentioned a few times KPIs. So my third question is actually about KPIs. Chapter 94 is just, it seems impossible. There's only one chapter of 2 pages on KPIs, but that's the modus operandi of the book. So my question to you is, which KPI is typically the hardest to measure?
Hmm.
Which loyalty KPI?
So look, just back to that different customers, it can sometimes astound you about how hard it is to measure something. I don't know, if you work for a brand, then probably you do understand it, but trying to get access to that data to really measure an outcome or measure a KPI is really hard in some companies, way harder than it should be. So even the most simple things are sometimes harder than they should be. I think the hardest one to measure sometimes is the impact or uplift in the program that you're delivering, over and above someone just being loyal to you, but how has your
Yeah.
program genuinely
Incrementality.
impacted and
Yeah.
changed that
Yeah.
whether it's the incrementality, whether it is I mean, obviously customer lifetime value can show you that can take some time to work through, and there's a lot of variables at play when you're trying to calculate that as well. But that aspect of what is the impact of my program in terms of, if I didn't have a program, and if I took that program away, would these people still be loyal, and how much difference have I made and impacted? But that's where you can design a program to allow you to measure that stuff better, whether it is using something like, I don't know, bonus points as a way to change a behavior and make a different purchase, and then you can directly attribute something you did in your program to change their behavior to make a purchase, or whether it is the non-transactional reward side of things. So asking them some questions, getting some data, rewarding them for that, and the value of that data that you wouldn't have had if you hadn't gone through that process of your
Yeah.
loyalty program as well. So it's those softer things can work as well. But that probably is the hardest to measure and track. And obviously there's a number of variables at play when you're measuring that, and depending on the frequency as well, it makes a big difference. Because sometimes if you're a company who only really sells once a year, you've got to wait a long time to work out, well, what impact has my program
Yeah.
had, because you're comparing one year to the next before you can really start to see those metrics.
Yeah.
And that's when you might look at something different, and look at some other kind of engagement style metrics, or program member numbers, and engagement within the program from that perspective too.
I am so looking forward to Dublin because we're going to unpack this in detail. So anybody who's interested in this, this is a shameless plug to come and join us in Dublin for the Diploma in Loyalty Masterclass. It really is, because we'll be debating this endlessly. So Nick, thank you so much. So my last question to you is the easiest piece, because you can prepare for this. Who would you like to tag for me to talk to again?
So I think a really good person for you to talk to is, his name is Sean Carrigan. He's the head of membership at ATG. And if you don't know ATG, they're the Ambassador Theatre Group. So they own some West End theatres, they own some regional theatres in the UK, they own some Broadway theatres in the US as well. And they have, and as a head of membership, they have a membership program called ATG Plus, which is a paid program. And they have the lovely position in that they can charge people to sign up for pre-sale access. And those people who are really loyal want to get to see the first, the new shows
Yeah.
first. So therefore, they're willing to commit to that. So therefore, I think it's a different kind of take on loyalty than perhaps some other verticals or people that you might have had before to talk to.
Yeah,
But it's a
super.
really interesting position to have something whereby they're also thinking about people who are willing to pay that because they want to be a patron of the arts. And it's a
Yeah,
different thing there from maybe
lovely.
some other brands and verticals that you work with. So and he's a great person as well. So it would be lovely for you to chat to him.
Brilliant. Yeah, I look forward to that because we definitely haven't had anyone from that industry, and very few on a subscription, who are currently running subscription. So great. Thank you, Sean. Look forward to meeting you. And a question, Nick, maybe not for Sean, because I can't always predict exactly who I give the question to. A question for a future Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Yeah, well, look, I think that it's something that we've spotted at Marigold, and we're trying to work with our clients to work on, but it's onboarding into programs. And I think that onboarding into loyalty programs isn't done as well as it should be. And we all know that redemption is key in a program to see value. So therefore, a good onboarding should lead for a faster pathway to redemption. And so my question would be is, how important do you believe that onboarding is into a program? And I guess, who do you think is doing it really well at the moment? Because I think it would be good to see that, because I certainly have been a member of a lot of programs, and I sort of just signed up. I've got a welcome email, and that's it, actually. And then if I log in, there's things for me to come and see and do and engage with the program, but that kind of connection with the communication channels in particular to drive that engagement and build me into the program, I don't think it's there as well as it should be with a lot of brands and programs today.
Stunning. Great. Great. Thank you. Great question. Quite a toughie, actually, but look forward to asking that. I've got some people to talk to next week. So, well, actually, by the time this gets released, I would have spoken to them. Wonderful, Nick. Thank you so much. Great to talk to you. Thank you for doing the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Thanks, Amanda. It's great to be here. Thank you. Bye.